Okay, we'll have to do it at the top. Hi, thank you for watching. This is Tammi Morrison of Straight Outta Savannah, talking with Tammi. I have my guest, Kathryn Mussell, that is going to blow you away. Kathryn, I would love it if you would introduce yourself.
Hi, Tammi. It's so great to be here. And we've been wanting to do this for a while, and I'm just so glad to be here. And you know that I'm a huge fan of you and what you're doing and the message that you're putting out into the world. And it's my pleasure to be in your company today, seriously. So I am an elevated consciousness coach. I'm a 5D visionary. So I help to engineer people's consciousness, to kind of give people tools to stretch their consciousness a little bit from where they're at to where they want to go. Because I feel like a lot of people are primed and ready for something new, something that they hadn't thought of before, something they haven't imagined before. And I like to give people the tools that helps them stretch so they can figure out what that is for themselves. So yeah, that's what I do. That's who I am. That's what I love to do.
All right, well, let's get into it. So where did you get this idea, and how did this come to you to start to do this for people?
Well, it's been building for a while. I started off like a lot of energy healers. We start off learning things like Reiki. We learn, hands-on healing and how to do energy activations and how to generally help people through, like, let's just say shadow work. And I think all of us as energy healers, we kind of go through those rites of passage when we are learning to build our craft or find what it is that really speaks to us. And, I went the same route as many people have in that regard. And I feel like there's so many people doing that work right now. And that's wonderful. I love seeing that. And I love that there are so many energy healers and thought leaders doing the good work, I call it. But I want to stretch people a little bit beyond that. It's like, okay, well, now you've done the shadow work. Now you've glimpsed some other things that are possible for you, but let's kind of take you out of like the confines of the way everybody else is doing things, the way everybody looks at success, the way everybody looks at affluence, the way everybody looks at wealth, prosperity. And let's kind of reframe that. Let's look at it in an elevated consciousness perspective, and let's kind of opt out of the mass consciousness. And so I give people tools how to do that. And one of the things that I'm working on right now is I do a lot of work around time, 3D time, and timelines, and helping people realize that, what you're.
Okay. Got a little bit of frozen going on. I don't know what that's about.
You got some. Is it me or you?
It's you.
I can't. It's both. It's Mercury retrograde. In my back.
It's okay. Just keep talking.
Okay. So I have people figure out where there are two.
Oh my goodness. Oh. Okay, so,
and we're back.
Yes, we're back.
Okay, sorry about that. I don't know if it's my internet or what's going on, but now you're frozen.
Am I? Because I can see myself just good, but to you, I'm frozen?
Okay, now you just came back.
Okay.
I love the Mercury retrograde.
Let me get you, what's going on with the video? I got your beautiful picture up here. But your video is off, but not on mine. It's on your end.
Yeah, I'm on video here. I can see myself on the video.
Wow, this is like so strange.
This is weird.
Let's see.
Should we stop and start again?
Yeah, maybe so. Let's do that.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna stop. Wait. Are you back? Okay, you're back.
Okay, here I am.
Okay. All right. So we had a little interruption, but we're going to get back into it. So Kathryn, one thing I wanted to bring out, and I wanted you to explain to the people, when you say shadow work, what do you mean by that?
So working on where it is in your life that you feel like, let's just say there's an emotion that's the driving force of your life. It could be anger, could be resentment, it could be blame. It could be a deep sense of like abandonment of self that you need to excavate, look at, investigate, see what's going on. And that is, it's not something that you want to suppress. It's never anything you want to avoid, those parts of you that you don't like. It's simply a part of you that actually has a lesson for you. It has what I always call the gift in the garbage. You've had enough classes with me where you've heard me say that a million times.
Yes, I find myself using that as well.
Gift in the garbage. Well, it's great, you know, because it's a very clear image of what's going on, right? That gift in the garbage, like it's that thing you don't want to sift through and look at, but it's that one thing that could be your clue to that next level of whatever it is that you're looking for: success, affluence, wealth, prosperity, love, you know?
Yes.
And that's why it's a gift, because without, you know, looking at what that is and what that soul expression of you is trying to tell you, there isn't that next level for you. You're just going to stagnate. And that's not our nature as human beings. We are never meant to stagnate. We're never meant to stay in a singular level of awareness. We're meant to keep expanding. And shadow work is the way we do that. We look at what is holding us back and we figure out what the lesson is and we make peace with it and we move on. And there's layers of it, you know, it's not like a one and done thing. We know that, right? There's like like an iceberg, you know, there's a lot of layers underneath the water. So that's what we need to keep doing. And those of us who are in integrity with the work that you and I do, and many people who are on your show do, is like, we know that this is just part of the game.
Yes.
You just have to keep clearing, keep releasing.
Yes.
But there's always more on the other side of that release process, more for us to kind of bite off and chew into. And
yes, because it seem like once you think you've cleared one thing, something
else pops up
and shows up and you have to go even deeper.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Awesome.
And, you know, we got to be okay with that. We got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, basically.
Yes.
And the more you do it, the less comfortable I get. I'm going to speak from my own experience because I just do tons and tons of work on myself. And I just feel like I'm okay with the fact that it's never really going to be over.
Right.
I'm okay with the fact that there's always more to explore, because you know, my mission and the foundation of what I do here as a thought leader or way shower is to be able to help people be okay with that too. So if I'm not okay with it, how can I ask that of my clients? How can I ask that of people who want to, you know, join up and work with me?
Yes, that's absolutely true.
Right?
So I'm trying to get to when you began this journey, when you got on this amazing marathon.
That's a good word.
Exactly. It's like, you know, it's a marathon, you know, you just keep running. So when you decided to do this, where did you find yourself at the moment? Like, take us to the place where you, all of a sudden you felt yourself awakening.
Yeah.
You know, you started waking up, you know.
So I always knew from the time I was a little kid that I was able to hear things and sense things that, no one said out loud or no one spoke out loud, but I could kind of hear what was going on behind the words people would say to me. And I could sense certain things about people, places, etc. As far as I knew, no one else in my family had any of this going on. And there was never anyone I felt like I could talk to. So, obviously being a kid is pretty awkward when you're going through that. And especially when you're a teenager and puberty hits and you have that going on too. It was like, oh. And so, I went through my young adult life kind of knowing all this was going on and learning about it as much as I could and reading everything and get my hands on and everything. And it wasn't until I was in school to be an esthetician.
Oh, wow.
That I had a teacher, one of my mentors and teachers at the esthetician school, take me aside one day and ask me if I had ever heard of Reiki. And I had heard about it. I didn't know much about it. And she went on to tell me that she was going to be my mentor in Reiki. And not only was she going to teach me the first level, but she was going to take me up through master teacher level. And then I was going to tune others to Reiki. And I was like, oh, really? I thought we were just popping pimples today. Okay.
Wow.
That came out of left field. But, you know, at the same time, you know, I was kind of floored by it, but at the same time, it was like, oh, this is what I've been asking for. You know, someone who, you know, and we had never talked about this. There was never any conversation even close to anything like this. It was really out of the blue, totally out of left field. And so it was like this answer to my prayer that I feel like it hadn't been answered for years.
Yes.
And that's the way the universe works, right? The person came along at the right time when I was ready to say yes to it. And I did. I said yes to that. And she became my mentor. And we did all the stuff that she said that we were going to do together. And it was wonderful. And I, you know, attuned a lot of people, and I taught Reiki, and I even developed my own Reiki modality. And that just kind of took me on this kind of this pathway of so many things then opening up, because I finally felt like, and here was the key, what I was feeling was okay. That I was okay, that I wasn't crazy.
Yes.
You know, that there was something bigger than me that I needed to anchor into. Me, meaning all of my problems and all of the things that I was focused on in my life, like paying rent and things like that. There were bigger things going on. And it was nice to have that message though, and to have someone, you know, walk me through a process of not only liking myself more as a person, because now I felt like less confused about who I was, and that I wasn't a crazy person, and that there was something bigger for me than just like going to aesthetic school and just trying to find something that would make me happy. This was way bigger than that. So I never looked back since.
So did you finish esthetician school though?
I did.
So you can pop pimples too.
Exactly. I'm a Renaissance woman, girl. Come on. So yes, I did. I finished that, and I actually started my own brick and mortar business. And it's funny because when I started, I was doing, because I studied hypnotherapy at the time too, and my teacher had taken me through the master level of training. I had gone through 5 months of hypnotherapy school doing quantum level hypnotherapy. So I had a brick and mortar office in San Francisco where I was doing esthetician work, Reiki, and hypnotherapy. How about that combo? All in the same office. Yeah, but it was fun for me, and it was great while I did it. And when I started realizing that more people were coming to me for the hypnotherapy and the Reiki, it was obvious to me which direction I was being led to.
Awesome. And so as you begin to go on this direction, because now you're at a whole nother place, which is amazing to me. You know, I have always been amazed by you and watching your what's the word? Your transformation, almost your transmutation, really.
Kind of. That's a good way to put it. That's how it feels for me. But it also feels natural. Like I didn't resist any part of this progression into, let's just say, expanded levels of what I'm doing, because I'm simultaneously so fascinated by it, and I'm kind of sitting back watching all of this unfold through a different vantage point of me, but at the same time being fully immersed in it, fully in the now of it, and really leading the charge of birthing like new levels of it into being. And you can only do that when you're actively participating in your now, when you're just like completely present and in the moment with everything you're doing, thinking and feeling. And we all have that ability, but you know, we get led away by so many distracting things and things that don't matter. But if your goal is to, you know, keep the integrity of what you're doing and stay focused on, for me, the service. It's about the service. So if I have that as, you know, programmed into the deep foundation of what I do is being in service to others of the highest integrity, it's easy for me to have clarity. It's easy for me to keep my eyes on the prize. And so that's just what I keep doing.
That is amazing. So let us know, what are you up to now? How are you going into the new, I say the new year, but the new decade?
Yeah.
What's
So
2020 got for you?
Lots of stuff. So I'm kind of pulling back from doing live teaching at least until the new year in the mid to end of January. So, you know, I have lots of online courses and stuff that's just there in this one member vault that people can take. And I want people to explore that because there's so much to binge on there. There's so much content.
My God. People can binge on your YouTube channel.
That's true. I have hundreds of videos on there.
Oh my God. I was looking at your channel.
I know there's a ton, and there's something for everybody. There really is.
Yes.
But what I really am taking, I'm taking myself to task a little bit and I'm throwing down the gauntlet and challenging myself to actually bring what I'm doing into the tech world a little bit more, because
wow, yes.
what I'm talking about with time and timelines, it blows people's perception wide open. And so I know some people who are doing some programming work, computer programming work, who are absolutely fascinated with what I'm doing with talking about opting out of 3D time and opting into 5D time and timelines and all that stuff, and learning how to bend and stretch time. So it's caught the attention of people who are doing computer programming, which I seem to think is like just a natural synchronicity, actually. So there's some opportunities for me to do like live telecasts to some of the Google offices right now. So I'm actually talking to people about that. And it's kind of,
it's gotta be kind of surreal.
But yeah, it's because I think it's just that kind of crossover that we're looking for as we keep, bridging the gap of our awareness. It's we're crossing over like what we do in our spiritual work over to like fields that seem more tangible, like science and technology, or even medicine sometimes. It's that crossover that's bringing everything into unity consciousness. So I can't be afraid of that. Like if the opportunities are lining up for me to do that, even though I've never done anything like that before, taught to that group of people, so what? So what?
Well, the thing is they're people.
Exactly.
You know, because I've been going out into the community trying to do some stuff there, and you know, meditation is my jam. So I wanted to bring that out into like the 55 and over community, and because those are my people.
That's beautiful though.
And so I was trying to bring it to them, and they seem to be receptive. And then, you know, I really have a desire next year to get out into corporate, to bring that into the corporate world, because I believe that, you know, if people would just begin to center themselves and begin to, you know, learn how to be in the now, that, you know, they'll be much better employees. They'll be happier. You know, this is something that I've been working on, and this is where I want to go with that particular route, because I know that, you know, it helps, you know, and I can tell by just when I go to work, because I still work 3 days a week. So when I go to work, people, you know, when I walk in, they're like, "We're so glad to see you," you know, because you bring energy in this building. I was like, yeah, I have to, because I got to get that shit out. That's it.
Well, and people are hungry for it, right?
Yes.
People are hungry for it.
Yes.
And they may not have known before even how to ask for it. But if suddenly someone with you carrying this gift and bringing it and saying, "Here, what do you think about this?" And people are like, "I didn't even know I needed that. I didn't even know I wanted that. And now I can't get enough of it. And please, when are you coming back?" Right? And that's a wonderful thing. That's a wonderful thing, because that's what people are waking up to now. It's like, we have to appreciate there's so many people who are going through this awakening process. They have no way to articulate what's going on with them. They just, it's all new to them. And they just, maybe they think they're going crazy, or they think, you know, their whole identity is shifting, which it is. But if they find ways to find some sort of peace and centering with that, that's a great starting point. And who knows where that will lead them.
Exactly.
And that's beautiful what you're doing.
And that's the thing. It's like you want to open up to, you know, the world, because that's what that's going to do. Once you take this into the tech world, oh my God, it's going to just be like an explosion.
I'm pretty excited
and
about
that's
it.
what we need. I'm excited too. Shit, I'm like, wow, yes, that is going to be amazing. Because what you have, the thing about you is you have such an intelligence. You know, your stuff is so freaking deep. Till I thought I was smart, but sometimes it takes me 2 or 3 times to watch your shit to understand what it's about, and it just like opens up once I get it.
But that's okay. And then, you know, I want people to listen to what I have to say 2 or 3 times, because you're going to get it at different levels of your awareness every time you listen.
Yes.
And that's a good thing, you know, and that's how, when I was talking about stretching our consciousness, that's it. That's what we got to do. And the only way to do that is to hear things that haven't been said in a certain way to us before. It's not that there isn't a part of us that doesn't know this stuff already. Our higher self already knows this stuff. But it's not that our spiritual awakening process is stunted at this point. It's our human awakening process. That's a little sluggish. That needs some catching up. And it's because we're trying to wrap our intellect and our intelligence around things that we got to get it here, not necessarily here.
Right.
So if we have to listen to it a couple times in order for all that energy to match up, that's fine. But I love to be able to talk to people in a way where I can meet them where they're at.
Yes.
I can say, okay, well, how can you understand this? Tell me something about your life so I can get how it is that you like to hear things worded. And then I'll just kind of transcribe it so that they get it. Because if you're not getting it,
that's a gift.
It's not going anywhere. So I'd like to be able to talk to people right where they're at. And I do think that that is one of the things that I'm kind of gifted with, is that I can figure out how to talk to people where they're at.
You're not kind of gifted with it. You are gifted with that.
Thank you, Tammy. You're very kind. You're very kind.
You really are. I mean, it's amazing. Sometimes I watch you with amazement, because I'm like, man, that thing is, it's deep, but the way she brought it out, she brought it so that people can understand it. And that is a gift, because everybody can't do that. It's like when you listen to some college professors. I've taken lots and lots of classes. I probably have enough credits for a degree, but I don't have one.
Girl, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So I've taken, but I got the student loan to prove it though.
Right.
But, when you talk to some professors, you have some that they know how to bring it down to the level where the students are.
Right.
And then there are other ones that they're so up here till can't nobody understand what the hell they're saying.
Exactly.
And you're
I've
like,
had a lot of professors like that, right?
And you go to them and they say stuff like, well, you can, my office door is open, you can come to me, but it don't make a difference because they're still not going to
I know. I know. I've had those professors too. Yeah, and it's frustrating because, or you have that professor that makes you feel like you're an idiot if you don't get it at his level or her level of understanding. And it's like, no, we all come from different perspectives, different levels of experience. And if you can't be in a place where you can empathize or sympathize with that person, that learning is a connection. Yes. You can have all the intelligence and intellect in the world, but if you don't have that human connection, all that stuff you might as well be speaking a completely different language.
So now let's get into that. We're going to talk about that for a minute and then we're going to get off here because, we'll get real long.
Right? We could go all day. We could go all day with this.
So when you get into the connection, how did you begin to make that? Because I noticed that even since the time that I've known you, it's like you've turned the corner as far as that. And it's like you can see the connection. It's like I can almost see the people on your lives and stuff, the stuff just going into their brain. You know what I mean? And so I wanted to just ask you about that so that you can share that with some people. Because I know there are people out there that wonder this, especially when you're first getting started and you're trying to navigate and figure out where you're trying to go and all that stuff. Because I remember talking to you one time and telling you that I don't think I really like one-on-ones because people get on my nerves. And you said, well, when you find the thing that you really like, then you would do some one-on-ones, and I said, okay, yeah, all right, and that made sense to me. So when you begin to figure out how to find those connections.
Yeah. I think there's two key parts of that, really. Number one is, I think when we first start out, we want to posture ourselves after someone who's already getting a lot of, let's just say, attention for their visibility, someone who has, propped themselves up in the marketplace, let's just say, in a certain way to be the expert on this or the go-to person on that. And so we kind of want to emulate that and we want to posture ourselves after that, but it never really works, does it? Because it just feels like a carbon copy of something, and it feels phony and fake. And I think we all fall into that trap in the beginning, especially when we start going live and talking live on YouTube. And if you watch some of my early YouTube videos, I am stiff as a board. I am just like terrified.
Yes.
So I realized that, what, screw it. I'm going to be me. I'm just going to be me. Like I'm goofy. And yes, I talk about stuff that's really out there, but at the same time, I'm kind of goofy and I have a dark sense of humor, and I'm going to be me, basically. So
you and I relate so much with that because some things
it's just you relax into it more when you realize I'm not trying to be anybody. I'm just going to be me. So there's that. And then the second part of it is I just started talking about things that I really wanted to talk about.
Okay.
Because frankly, I felt that it was so saturated. Everybody was talking about the same thing all the time.
Yes.
And maybe they were talking about, you know, different things about that, and there was different subtext, but at the same time, it was like, everybody's out there talking about the exact same thing. I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about, and it's a little scary because nobody's talking about it, but you know what? I don't have anything to lose at this point. I just don't. So I don't.
That's the way I feel.
So the
I have nothing
fear,
to lose.
once you
It's all
lose that
good.
fear, right? You just feel free.
Yes.
You feel liberated. And it's like,
Mhm.
okay, I don't need to be everybody's cup of tea. That's not, you know, it's not high school anymore. I don't need to do that. If you don't like me, turn me off. It's that easy. I don't
Just
have to
click.
explain myself to you if you don't like what I like. And I'm not asking anybody to, you know, just buy into whatever I'm saying. Like, take my courses and use the tools that I give and figure it out for yourself. Find out for yourself if I'm full of crap or not.
Yes,
That's up to you. And I feel like all I can do is present the information in the most integrity, in a way that feels good to me, that feels right for me, to connect with the tribe that is aligned with my frequency.
Right.
I'm not going to try to, at this point, you know, try to catch people in a net that, you know, it feels like it's forced.
Yes.
Or, you know, I'm trying to win people over or anything. It's not about any of that. It's about, you either jive with my vibe or you don't.
Exactly. And to me, it's like,
and I have love for you either way, by the way. I have love and respect for anybody either way, but you either jive with my vibe or you don't.
Right. And to me, it's like trying to fix a partner. You know, you can't fix them. You can't fix them. You got to love them where they are.
Exactly.
You can't fix them, you know. And it's funny because that to me is how that looks. You know, you're trying to, you know, fit a square peg into a round hole. Exactly. No, it's not going to be done. You're not going to do it. I don't care how hard you try.
And the funny thing is, we keep trying it, don't we? We keep like, no, it'll work this time. No, it'll work this time.
Yeah.
Right?
No, you know, I just, you know, all I have to do is just this, you know, and no.
Yep.
No.
And we've been there. We've been down that road, and we know. So we just don't put our energy in there. We don't invest in that anymore, and we kind of turn our focus to like, okay, what is working, and where do I see this like getting even bigger, instead of trying to force something that feels inauthentic. I mean,
yes. Now that right there is, that's key. That is key. Yes, trying to force something that's inauthentic. That is like, that's like a gold nugget right there.
Totally. And that's, I mean, getting back to the point of connection, you know, people know, energetically, people are so savvy.
Yes.
They know when you're being inauthentic. They know when you're trying to screw them. And they know when you are talking out of, you know, your backside. So people they're just going to turn you off and go to the next person. So, you know, you're trying to force something that, you know,
it's not going to work.
It's not going to work. And you're trying to bring somebody into something that it's going to be, maybe it feels right for you for a minute, but let's just say you bring those people in, or you fool those people to come in, and then you're on to the next thing because that felt inauthentic to you the whole time. Then you lost those people anyway. So what was the point of it?
It was no point.
Yourself.
To me, you think about it, it really is a waste of time.
Yeah.
You know, and oh God, I have to ask you this. So how do you feel about the dimensions? Because I honestly started seeing it. I started hearing you talk about it some, and then they did that show on Netflix, OA.
Yeah.
And they talked about the dimensions. When I watched that show, I felt like, oh my God, whoever wrote this thing is awake.
Well, you know, it's funny because when you start really looking at some of the, you know how like Netflix and Hulu, they have so much, and Amazon even have so much content that's made just for those apps now.
Yes.
There's so many new TV shows and stuff going on. There's a lot of, if you look at it, there's a lot of sci-fi stuff going on.
Yes.
And the reason why is because we're basically living in sci-fi. Like when you look back at like Star Trek in the 60s and, you know, some of the technology that they put on Star Trek.
The cell phone.
We're living in it right now. Okay?
Yes.
So the sci-fi that we're seeing on these, like, you know, these highly like they're highly imaginative programs, because
Yes.
if you think about it, the medium of television and entertainment and movies as a whole is a great way for getting people to tap into a level of consciousness where they're really exploring their imagination. I mean, would you agree that that's the way that the whole collective kind of goes into fantasy world and kind of lets their mind just kind of relax for a little bit, like, just entertain me, I want to be entertained.
Yes,
But
come
we're
out
also
of this
getting our
other
consciousness
place.
stretched at the same time.
Yes.
That's the
Yes.
sweet spot, when we feel
Yes.
relaxed and when we can
Yes.
just kind of let our mind go crazy. And so
Yes.
when you look at these shows, people are really exploring a lot of different dimensional realities. If you really look at what's going on with the shows and the way it's written and the things that they're talking about, they're really
Yes.
talking about different dimensional realities. You've got, let's just say, masters who are in different realms. Okay,
Yes.
there's the 9th dimension right there.
Mhm.
You're talking about, there's a show that I watched on HBO last night. I think it's called His Dark Materials.
Okay.
They're finding this other dimension in the clouds. Okay, 5D. Hello. I mean, it's all around us, and so this is part of the collective unconscious now, where we're exploring dimensions that are beyond 3D reality. This is a good thing. And so
I agree.
it's on a lot of people's minds, but like I said, not everyone has a way to articulate what they're experiencing with it. And it's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds.
It really, really is. Because I was thinking about, it took me back to like where I work at. I do mental health, which I really like mental health. And it's funny because we have to ask the people, are they hearing voices, or have they heard voices, or do they hear voices, or things like that. And so one guy looked at me and he it's almost like he was ashamed to tell me. And he said, yeah, I hear voices. I said, what are they telling you? And he said, oh, they say good things and blah, blah, blah. I said, oh, okay. I said, well, and he said, do you think that's strange? I said, no, everybody hears voices. They just don't all admit it. And he just smiled and he was happy, but,
Right.
I'm not the one that's going to put him on drugs to stop the voices, but I just thought that was amazing, because he was like, I'm sure that he had been through places where they said, oh, you're hearing voices. Well, let me put you on this pill. Let me do this. Let me do that. And he said, no, he said, I've always heard the voices. And of course he was Native American, but he said, I've always heard the voices. He said, and his shaman, or whoever they do, I can't remember what the name he called them. He said that it was okay as long as they weren't, telling me to hurt myself or anything like that. He said, but I've always been able to communicate with others. And I was like, wow, that is so interesting.
And how amazing was it for him to feel okay with admitting that?
Right.
And how many people out there aren't okay with admitting it? And meanwhile, they think they're crazy, or they think, they're losing their minds.
Yes, because that's what you think.
Said it to someone else, that they would be medicated or put away or whatever, But we're not really living in that world anymore where, you get the hug me jacket put on you right away and you get put into a padded room, right?
Exactly.
So I think people are getting a little more brave about being able to talk about their experience, and this is really good. And like I said about people being more energetically savvy, there's something about him that knew he could open
it was
up to
okay.
you.
Yes. And that was the thing.
Don't you find that that's happening? Like, people are really tuned in to like who's in their present company. Like, I'm not going to be able to say shit to that person, but I could probably talk to that person.
I get that all the time.
Yeah.
And I believe, now that I think about it, I believe that this is why I'm in that position now. Because, at one time I was like, oh my God, I really fucking hate this job. And honestly, it's the energy that's in the place. But then as I've been diving into my own meditation and doing my own prayers and stuff, it's like I got that, you are placed in that place for a time and for a purpose.
Yes.
And so when that happened, that particular night that happened, because I work nights, and that particular night that happened, I was like, wow. And it's like all of a sudden it just hit me that, that this is why I'm here. This is why I'm here, because there are people that are coming through here that, they've been beat up by society because, they hear voices or whatever, and me, I understand all that. And it's like they come in and I actually have a couple of minutes to just talk to them, you know, and I talk to them because we have a lot of people that do detox as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the heroin thing is horrible here. I don't know if it's horrible
In a
all
lot
over
of places.
It's bad. And they're young kids. I mean, young kids. Like, I think I had a
so
19,
sad.
20-year-old.
Yeah.
And it's so sad. So I get a chance to talk to them and, you know, and just share with them. And it's so funny because intuitively, it's like I can hear all the things that I need to tell them. And I just tell them. And they look at me and they want to grab me and hug me. And they're like,
Right.
you know, thank you. I appreciate you. And I was like, yeah, I was like, I'm glad you're here because, you know, you need to get straight. You know, but the voices and stuff like that, I said, it's okay. You know, I said, you just need to sit down and lean into them.
Yes.
And I share with them how to journal and different things like that.
That's awesome.
But I said all that to say that, you know, a lot of times we're, you know, in a spot and we feel like it's a crunch spot. And we feel like it's, you know, a place that's pushing us out. But what it really is doing is pushing us up. And is, you know, because for me, I'm so passionate about, you know, healing this planet and changing this world. You know, and I was laughing because we went to see Harriet last night. And in that movie, she said, I'm gonna have, what did she say? She said, I'm gonna have liberty or I'm gonna die. And to me, when I think about it, it's just that simple. Either you're gonna be free or you're gonna die.
And for a lot of people, it really is like, it feels do or die for a lot of people right now.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, because the society that we live in and all the things that are going on, and you know, and Lord, we don't even want to get into politics, but it's just crazy.
We don't have room for that today.
No, we don't. It'll be a long conversation. I just prefer to keep sending them energy.
Yes, there you go. That's all we can do. That's all we can do.
Sending the country energy, you know, sending the world energy, because this, you know, because we're not an island here in the States. You know, the things that happen here ripple all over the world.
Absolutely.
You know, because we're seeing so many other people coming forth in other countries that are the same as this one that we have. And it's crazy. And you wonder how in the world could that be?
Well, there's a lot of mirrors for us right now.
Yes.
There's a lot of mirrors, and this is good because it's showing us in very, very high contrast what it is that we don't want to see, or what we would not like to admit about ourselves. And that's always a good thing.
Well, you know,
because it's showing us like, you know what, but you got a choice here. So if you really don't like the way this looks, it's between you and you to change it.
Exactly.
And we're all being asked that on an individual level.
Yes.
It's helping us to refine our values. It's helping us to refine, you know, what we really believe in.
Yes.
This is always a good thing, and no big change or pivot happens without that.
Right.
So we are in an important time, no doubt about it. We're seeing some ugly things play out, but it's like, it's got to go.
Yes.
The only way to release something is to feel it, and we're all feeling it right now. In one way or another, no matter what we value, no matter what we believe, we're all feeling something that is giving us the contrast. And that's only and ever saying, okay, well, here's your choices.
Yes. And you make the decision.
Yep.
You know, it's your decision, because, you know, the thing that I've been seeing is that, especially in that, what I do is like, some of them come in and I can tell the ones that are really ready and they're going to be good and they're going to be successful, because they come in and they're at the place where they've stopped blaming everybody else for all their problems, or they're ready to rise above it, you know. And I talk to them and I say, you know, they say, well, you don't know what it's like to blah, 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 blah. And some of the stuff I do. You know? And I tell them, yes, I do know what it's like. I said, but, you know, I said, I have risen above that. I said, I've chosen. I said, so today, this is your choice. You have to choose.
Yes.
You know, and this is the thing. And so with all of us, that is us. We have to choose and make the decision that, yes, we're going to rise above. We're going to, you know, go this way. We're going to make this change, you know, and it's all boils down to choice.
Yes.
And I'm excited because you are amazing. You are rocking the planet. I mean, the things that you're doing, it's like every time I get to watch you, I'm filled up. Now, you know, you're long.
Thank you.
So sometimes I have to do it in
Sometimes you gotta listen a couple times.
I got to do it in increments.
That's okay.
And I have to do it a couple times, yeah. But, you know, it's just amazing because it's like the awakening and the opening up. And just from when I've known you to now, it's like you're like a different person, and I'm excited about it.
And I feel like I'm changing all the time. But it's, you know, we all have that ability. And the thing is, like, everything is really accelerating. That brings us to another quick point that I want to make, that, you know, who we were 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago is vastly different than who we are today. But that's only true to the extent that you're resisting that. I mean, if you are like, no, it's got to be this way, it's always been this way. If you find yourself as one of those people that's saying, but this is the way it's always been done, or this is the way I've always done it, or this is the way I always got money, or this is the way I always got success, or this is the way I always got love, you're going to be really uncomfortable.
Oh my goodness
because
gracious.
Everything is shifting so fast, and if we can't like just be in the flow of it and be present with what's happening, we don't know that we're always being asked, like, do you want to choose the way that it's always been? Because you can do it, right? It's going to be uncomfortable, but you can do it that way,
right?
And then we'll keep giving you opportunity. The universe will keep giving you opportunities to make the God choice, I call it, which is aligning you with your highest and best path, which is the one of least resistance.
Yes.
Or you can keep trying to do things the same way. It's always been done this way. My mom always did it this way. Everybody else always did it this way. That person got their success this way. If you keep holding on to that stuff, you're going to be really uncomfortable.
I'm telling
I just
you.
stopped holding on to any of that. So that's why I feel like a different person.
I just had a conversation with a young lady, and she was telling me about something she was doing. Just, you know how we bounce things off of people. And she said, yeah, I'm thinking, I said, well, why are you going to reinvent the wheel? The wheel's already been fucking made. It's been improved. There are different kinds. There's small, large ones. There's bicycle, wheels, but they're all fucking wheels, right? So why don't you just, do your wheel?
Or put wings on it.
That's what I was going to say. Put a bow on it, put some flowers on it, something, but it's no need in reinventing. So-and-so has already done that.
Right.
You just take it and you improve on it. I said, but isn't that what we do anyway? We take stuff and we improve on it.
Yeah. That's the nature of our ingenuity as humans, isn't it? Just keep finding better ways to do things, because we are really good at inventing tools and inventing tools to use for the tools. Like, we're really good at that. There's no other species on the planet that does that. Like, a monkey can use a tool,
right? But
a monkey can't make a tool to help with that other tool.
Right.
Humans can. And that's kind of like, there, I just explained the missing link between monkeys and humans.
Just so easy. You're welcome. Thank you.
But we're always innovating.
Yes.
We're always creating, but we're always innovating. Like, we're not just creating things for the sake of it, but we're looking at, like, what are the things that we created before, but we could do it better.
Yes.
We'll completely replace it with something new. We're doing that with our consciousness.
Yes.
These are the tools and technologies we're working with. We're working with the consciousness now.
And I'm telling you, I love Matt Kahn, and he's got one out now that I've got to watch. It's just 2 hours long.
Yeah, you gotta take it in small doses.
Because it's like, oh my God. And he does like you. He just kind of blows you away.
And he does it in such a calm and measured way of talking. Yes. I love the way he speaks. Like, sometimes I'm like, because I want to get everything out at once.
Yes.
But he has a very calm and measured way of speaking. And I love that about him, because he really gets your attention.
He does. And he breaks it down so simply. Yeah. And to me, it's almost like he's firing away at all the things that people want to bring into awakening. Because, people want to have rituals and things like that. And, like I heard him one day talking about the candles. He was like, yeah, you can light a candle, this, that, and the third. And it doesn't have to be a white candle.
Right.
And then he was talking about oils, and he said, you can use some frankincense. And he said, you can use frankincense without myrrh. And I thought that was hilarious, because people put those together like they belong together. Like that's all you can use. And he said, Jesus, used all kinds of oils. It wasn't just frankincense and myrrh.
Right.
But it was hilarious the way he brought it. And then it kind of, made you think, because we all do that, especially, how you were raised and stuff, because, your parents might have, burned candles and stuff, and somebody else's might have burned, Palo Santo or, wood or whatever, and so you say, this is all I can do. And he's like, nah.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Mind. Yeah. I mean, we're creatures of conditioning, aren't we?
Yes.
So that's what it is in a nutshell.
Exactly. All right. So we are going to get ready to get off of here. But the one thing that I wanted you to share is with someone that is just starting on this journey or trying to figure out, what the journey is, because that really is the bigger thing. Trying to figure out what is my journey.
Right.
What would you suggest them to do?
As much as possible, find that stillness. We are constantly having stimulation overload, especially in the environment we live in now. It's all about this all the time. And it's all about, like we were talking about before, the content everywhere. We have all these apps, all these shows that we can watch. So many things vying for our attention, but your higher self is vying for your attention too.
Yes.
You think that all the messages come to you from your outer environment. That's just not the case. It's only a small snapshot of your experience. It just happens to be the one we happen to be highly intensely focused on. But there is so much of a wealth of information in here, of inherent knowledge, and you're only going to find it in the stillness. And if you are really on that quest to become the greatest version of you, whatever that means, whatever that translates for you, whatever vision you hold for yourself, whatever you want to create for yourself, you are not going to find the keys to your success out here.
Yes. You're
going to find it in here, because you're mining for gold when you turn your attention inward. And all those nuggets of wisdom that you think are out there, it's wonderful to constantly be learning something or exposing yourself to, let's just say, Matt Kahn, or someone who lifts your consciousness up. Is always someone who's going to keep pushing you up, like you talked about before, which I love the way you spoke about that. So it's not about just putting your attention out. It's about pushing it up.
Yes.
Right? So if you're constantly listening to someone who's making you feel like you're taking this information to heart instead of to head, you're disseminating the information here instead of from your intellect. Expose yourself to people like that. Read books that make you feel that way. Listen to people talk who make you feel that way, but keep turning your attention to the stillness, even if it's 10 minutes a day.
Yes.
Give yourself that gift, because so much can unfold in those 10 minutes.
Yes.
You'd be surprised sometimes, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And then that's just the starting point. And then, just be very present with what unfolds. And don't try to resist it. Just be present and just let it flow. Accept where you are. A lot of people, they start off on the spiritual journey and they think, I got to do all the things, right?
Yes.
Now my mind's wide open, and people get blown away by what they experience, and that's great. That enthusiasm is wonderful, but you don't have to know all the things.
Yes.
Now, just be present with what is unfolding and be in the moment with all of it as it unfolds, because those moments are precious.
Yes.
The journey, right?
Yes. And it's a marathon, not a sprint.
That you never stop running. You might slow down a little bit and integrate along the way, get a glass of water, but we're moving along so quickly. We are accelerating so fast.
Yes.
In our journey of awakening, that we want to do all the things, but we have to keep being present. And that's how we're going to be there for each other, because it's not just you having this journey. The whole planet en masse is having this journey, and we have to be compassionate beings and hold that space for others who are just waking up, who haven't woken up, who are really awakened. We're all holding space for each other here. We just have to be in the moment with it and be really good frequency holders for everyone else, because the planet is healing. We're going through a mass healing process, and we all have to hold space for each other. That's so important, to be in that compassionate place for others right now.
Yes, that is amazing. And that is so real, because, the thing is I can remember when I reached out to you and I started having some experiences. I was like, what in the world is going on? Am I going crazy? And you were so kind and you were so compassionate, and you were like, just lean into it, and this is what's happening, and this, that, and I was like, wow, that's amazing, because I had experienced things in the past, but that was a different thing. So I was like, I don't know what this is about. And to be honest with you, I was like, I don't even know who to talk to about this.
Sure, right?
Because people, people look at you so crazy and they judge you so, and, and being the black sheep, I'm used to that. So it's like, okay, they're going to judge anyway, whatever. I'm going to do me. But that was just amazing. And I thought I would just share that because it is a testimony to the person that you are. And I'm so grateful to be able to call you sis, because I mean, it's just like,
You're gonna
it's
make
amazing.
me cry on your show, girl. Don't make me cry on your show.
I don't want you to cry.
Make me cry on your show.
I just have to tell you that because I just, it was just amazing, and it's so awesome. And I was like, and the connection that you and I had was just, almost off the bat. I saw you on the live, and it was like, damn, I got to find out about that.
Yep. I mean, yeah, it was instantaneous. It was just that kind of, place that we were just like, I know this person.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, we could talk all day, but we're not going to. Thank you so much for joining me, Kathryn, on Straight Outta Savannah, talking with Tammy. We have had such a wonderful time, and I would love to invite you to come back and watch again. I'm actually going to be uploading these episodes to the podcast community, hopefully in the next week or so. And so you can listen there as well. But I just am so thrilled to be having this conversation with Kathryn Mussell. Make sure that you look her up with all her details. She's going to tell you just short places where to find her, but I'm going to put it in the YouTube blurb as well, how you can get in touch with her. So just let them know where to find you, Kathryn.
Easiest place is right to my website, kathrynmussell.com. And then my YouTube channel is the same name, Kathryn Mussell. So tons of content on there if you want to check me out.
Awesome. All righty. So we have had such a wonderful time, and I mean, I almost don't want to get off, but I know it's time. So enjoy the rest of your day, night, morning, whenever you're listening. And I really appreciate you for listening. Bye now.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Okay.